All I'm saying is, why don't we just pretend he didn't die?
I don't believe I'm hearing this.
Let the peace in the special shine a light on me. Let the peace in the special shine a light on me. Let the peace in the special shine a light on me. Let the peace in the special shine a goddamn motherfucking light on me. Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Welcome back to the old Peace and Love special. It's been a while, but I'm excited for today's episode. Today's movie is an old favorite, Weekend at Bernie's. I could just do what I always do, say a bunch of shit that no one cares about, or I can stop the yapping and the bullcrapping. Let's get this shit started.
Let's get this shit started!
We start in New York City, the late 1980s. Richard and Larry are two schmucks that work for an insurance company and are on their way to work on a Sunday. Larry decides that they should take their work to the beach because it's the summer and it's hot as shit. Eventually, they both discover that there's a $2 million error in the company's finances. Well, Richard discovers the error. Larry wants credit for it too, though. The following Monday, the boys take a meeting with Bernie Lomax, the head of the company, to discuss their findings. Bernie is initially uninterested and hostile until Richard breaks it down for him.
Gentlemen, this is good work. Very, very good work.
Bernie wants to double check the numbers, but also decides to reward the fellas by inviting them to his house in the Hamptons for Labor Day weekend, hence the title. The boys say, hell yeah. Also, Richard is trying to score a date with this 80s baddie named Gwen. She says yes, so they go out. Unfortunately, the date goes horribly. At the same time, Bernie is having dinner with this mobster named Vito, Vito's two associates, and Vito's girlfriend. It turns out that Bernie is the one that stole the $2 million and wants to not only frame Richard and Larry for stealing the money, he wants them unalived as well. We then get the best character in the film. Paulie is one of Vito's goons. He takes the hit job. After Bernie makes an awkward exit, Vito tells Paulie to unalive Bernie because A, Bernie is doing way too much, and B, drawing way too much attention to Vito, who is probably skimming from the company, and worst of all, C, Bernie is procreating with Vito's girlfriend. Eventually, Bernie makes his way to the Hamptons, followed by Paulie and the two schmucks. Bernie is drafting a note that will be used to frame Richard and Larry when he is suddenly greeted by Paulie, who then proceeds to unalive Bernie.
Whoa.
Paulie makes Bernie's, is there another word I can use? Like, can I say expiration or something? Paulie makes Bernie's unaliving look like a wait, I can't really say that either. Paulie makes Bernie's premature expiration look like an accidental overdose of unprescribed medication. Later, Richard and Larry finally show up to Bernie's home and
Tell him Tawny Bard is about to go skiing.
Hi, Tawny. I'm horny.
Oh, hi.
Turns out that Bernie is a pretty big deal in the Hamptons. He probably would have been on the list. Anyway, they find Bernie and assume he's just resting. They soon realize that Bernie is napping a little too hard and won't wake up. They also find his medical supplies. But before you know it, Bernie's place is swarmed with drunk rich assholes looking for a party. Bernie's house is the first of many roving parties during the weekend, where it's seemingly normal for people to get so debilitatingly drunk that being rendered mute and immobile is not only typical, it's a highlight. After seeing how amazing Bernie's life is, even when he is unalived, Larry has the brilliant idea to pretend that Bernie is actually living and breathing so he can enjoy themselves and by association, Bernie's free booze and access to women. Richard has had enough of this shit and decides to call the police. He's soon distracted by Gwen, who just so happens to be a resident of the Hamptons and whose family is friends with Bernie. Richard decides to wait to call the police so he can patch things up with Gwen and maybe enjoy a little alone time. Unfortunately, Bernie is still ruining things. First, after accidentally being tossed over the deck, he's washed ashore from the high tide. Second, after being brought back into the house, Bernie's Guma, Vito's girlfriend, tracks him down thinking that he is cheating on her. Anywho, she forgives Bernie by... yes, This movie not only has two guys dragging around a lifeless body, but it also has that.
I'd rather not say.
The next day, Paulie is sent back to the Hamptons to confirm that his work has been completed. This is where things get complicated. Richard and Larry are the only characters in the film that know that Bernie is unalived. Richard wants to tell everyone and notify the police, but Larry wants to enjoy being a big-timer. He's also pretty sure that the police will assume that they're the culprits. Paulie gets a chance to finish what he started and is satisfied with his work. After Paulie heads out, Richard convinces Larry to finally stop all the nonsense and alert the authorities. However, they find an accidentally recorded conversation between Bernie and Paulie where they finally find out Bernie's true motive. Because Richard and Larry are unfamiliar with Vito and Paulie, they assume that they're still marked for unaliving, and since Bernie wants no connection to their unaliving, they still have to pretend Bernie is alive so that way they can make it back to New York City safely and alert the authorities. And yeah, their idea is to board a ferry with Bernie's body, but Paulie happens to see them and is genuinely convinced that Bernie is actually alive. This causes Paulie to lose his freaking mind. The boys don't make it onto the ferry. They then remember, though, that Bernie has a boat.
We got a boat.
However, the boat runs out of gas on their way back to New York City. After using Bernie's body as a flotation device, they make it back to Bernie's house. Gwen sees the three of them and is now more confused than ever. However, Larry clears that up.
It's just Bernie!
Paulie arrives in a highly erratic state and decides to not only unalive Bernie, but Richard, Larry, and Gwen to make sure there are no witnesses. After a tense and pretty funny chase sequence, Larry helps save the day. The cops finally show up. Poor Paulie is apprehended. Richard and Larry try to enjoy the rest of their weekend, and Bernie is finally taken away. Or is he? That was Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's was released in the summer of 1989. It was not very well received by critics at the time of its release. Roger Ebert said in his 1 out of 4 star review of the film, Weekend at Bernie's makes two mistakes. It gives us a joke that isn't very funny, and it expects the joke to carry an entire movie. Interestingly, Weekend at Bernie's has an astonishing 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. There was a sequel, Weekend at Bernie's 2, that was released in the summer of 1993. There was initially a continuity issue between the two films. There is a scene in Weekend at Bernie's that is deleted in most home video releases that depicts Larry getting into a small argument with a cougar he meets at the party. The suggestion is that Larry had relations with this woman. However, during the ending of Weekend at Bernie's 2, it is revealed that Larry is a virgin. I remember seeing this deleted scene off and on as a kid, and I got really confused as a teen and adult because I thought I might have imagined it. Tawny was played by Eloise DeJoria. You're welcome. The painting that's shown in the movie is Reclining Bather, painted by Roy Lichtenstein in 1977. Lichtenstein was famous for his comic strip-inspired paintings. Bernie's amazing-looking house was made solely for the film and doesn't actually exist anymore. Also, filming took place in North Carolina as opposed to the Hamptons. Ted Kotcheff was the director of Weekend at Bernie's and also appeared in the film as Richard's father. Ted Kotcheff was also the director of First Blood. Ted Kotcheff passed away in April of 2025. Rest in peace to Ted Kotcheff and Don Colfin. I've been a fan of this movie since it came out on VHS. The movie always takes my mind back to a time and place, the late 80s. I remember seeing the trailer for it when my babysitter and her boyfriend took me to see Ghostbusters 2. I even attended a Weekend at Bernie's panel in 2014 at a Comic-Con in San Antonio. I asked the cast if they'd ever do a third movie, and Andrew McCarthy seemed uninterested in answering the question, but Jonathan Silverman was very kind and essentially said there's been numerous attempts and talks, about a sequel, reboot, all that stuff. Obviously nothing has ever come of that. But he then joked, "We're always available." I've had my own ideas for a final film. Maybe I'll pitch them to you someday. Check out the first Weekend at Bernie's. It's really funny. The second one's not all that good. It's got some funny moments, but I guess if you're curious, you can check that out too. It's not as good as the first one. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.
from me.